Mr. Ambassador.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. When we were here last, a couple of months back, old friends thought, what about something more explicit of Pakistan rather than just peacekeeping? So we conceived this particular exhibition. And some of you who are going to be very surprised on the amazing mountains that we have. I think one of the first views is of Rakaposhi in Hunza. Where is Hunza? Where, I don't know, Mr. Baldane will agree with me, but in our part of the world, it was often said that Shangri-La was Hunza. I know that the Chinese have their own interpretation of Shangri-La, so with a great amount of deference and respect to. At the foot of the Rakaposhi is this great palace of Amir of Hunza, where Lienta, who was a great friend of Rudyard Kipling, and I struggled in his footsteps, 7 floors up in that thin air, and you throw open the window and see one of the most beautiful sights in the world. And that's when Lienta's meant to have said Shangri-La. And I'm not sure if it's true, but we want to claim it if you don't mind. And it's something that has been so essential to what we have even today. You will be pleased to know that in the mountains, it's still a great time because that part of Pakistan is not touched by the local situations as they are. And in fact, some of the great hotels there of His Highness the Aga Khan, the Sugar Fort, and Kaplu. One of the most amazing sights is the highest rift valley in the world, where at 12,000 feet and rising up to 27,000 feet is Goodwin Austen. But you've got Concordia, you have Broad Peak, you have Needle Point, you have so many mountains. That is one of the most amazing rift valleys in the world, also visible from the sky. And it's a place which is still vastly visited by people from all over the world, and they have amazing cultures there. A lot of that culture, as you must be also aware, are not Muslim anyway, and they live in amity and complete multiracial harmony with the rest of the people. Pakistan has some amazing sites to offer, and by and large, even today, those sites have an amazing relevance to whatever is happening. We have some of the oldest Hindu temples in the world in Pakistan, in the Nagar Parker and Thar Parker region, and Islam Court, in fact, has this temple where there's a couple of thousand peacocks that roam around freely, and is one of the most beautiful sights in the world. And most of the times we have about 500,000 Hindus living in the Thar Parker region, and they're an integral part of the country. And not only that, the railway from India into Hyderabad, Sindh, was built by them, and they are strong claimants to the land, and we welcome their participation in every aspect of life. And in fact, one of them, the late Rana Chandra Singh, was related to every royal house of Rajasthan. Great amount of, in fact, I think Vijay will remember, there is this amazing, in all this conflict, there's this amazing village in Tanabula Khan, which consists only of Hindus who insist on wearing at least something like 10 kilograms of gold all over their body every day of the week. And when I went there, I said, aren't you afraid of being mugged? No, nothing happens here. So while you might think, what happens in Pakistan, there are even yet islands of amazing existence and subsistence where people still live in many old ways, old norms, old ways. And Lahore, of course, was the old Mughal capital, which still has some of the most fascinating architectural, and even the people, I think, are. And one of the most amazing things, I was telling Hardeep Puri the other day, that about a year ago I went to a wedding of a Muslim family who were Jats, and all their customs I'd never seen before, and I said, where are these customs from? He says, oh, these are our Jat customs. And I said, well, you mean to say yes? He said that in India and in Pakistan we have the same customs. So there's amazing correlation, and so many things happen where we, today, at least in Pakistan, And this government is trying very hard to integrate and bring back the former, shall we say, multiracial, multilingual society, multi-religious society, where everyone, and when Jinnah finally made his first speech as the head of Pakistan's government, he said, you're free to go to your temples, you're free to go to your churches, you're free to go wherever you need to worship, because the business of the state is not to interfere. And I think this is where we had what we had and should continue to have in Pakistan. So there are things that you might enjoy seeing. We've also got one section dedicated by a very special photographer to the Indus floods of 2010. They're quite amazing, very pictorial, but they don't show at all the misery that was there actually. But nevertheless, it's very, very artistic. I hope you've shared some of that. And of course, we have shared with you, besides our heritage in terms of what nature has bestowed upon us, we have shared with you earlier the Buddhist heritage, in which, of course, the main route to China for Buddhism to travel other than Nalinda was Taxila. And from these points went this amazing movement. And even today, in many of these areas, we're still discovering huge monasteries and huge finds of great sculpture and great art. So we're onto the track. We hope all of us can enjoy coexisting in this fashion. Now that is the spirit we bring to our candidature for the Security Council. We hope we're going to be there with you. We hope we will share with you all the important aspects of what your country is going to be looking forward to dealing with at Security Council level. I believe one of our strongest points of view is that we've been very active with SIDS. We're on the Bureau of Rio 20. We have been at various stages contributing, and of course my favorite passion, because of my long travels in Africa when I was young, is Africa, and I hope the world wakes up. I'm very proud to say that both India and China have in fact contributed to Africa what maybe has not happened for a millennia, and I think it's going to be much more than that. So here we are gathered. I hope you enjoy the evening. I hope we can also serve up some local delicacies for you, from my kitchen of course, not from a restaurant. And I also hope that we will meet again like this very often and be able to share the United Nations in its true perspective as a world body that cares for everyone and integrates humanity as humanity is meant to be integrated. And I will merely conclude by saying that just today I was talking to some people from the Marshall Islands, and we suddenly discovered some amazing similarities with the Pacific and our part of the world. And I was amazed because I did know some of it, but it was even beyond what I expected. Humanity does not have differences. Perhaps the only difference was, and Lynn is going to kill me for this, when Africa sent people eastwards, they became kings, potentates, and they became the armies of India and the regions beyond. On the west, they weren't quite treated the same way, but that is not going to be said here tonight. So, because Lynn will object to that a great deal. So, what I mean to say is, welcome. We hope to revive our 7,000-year-old civilization. Mind you, unlike the Chinese, we have not done a good job in bringing it into some sort of historic perspective. But then Macaulay did try to change things. So we've got to thank the Brits, even though Mark Lyle-Brownt isn't here. And Mark Lyle-Brownt is a Pakistani because his ancestors created the biggest industrial town in Pakistan, Lalpur. So we're amongst family, we're amongst friends. Thank you all for being here today. And of course, the Caribbean I cannot ignore because that is so very important to people who went from the subcontinent all the way to the Caribbean, and everywhere we share in their cuisine, in their traditions, in everything that they have done. So thank you for letting me be a part of the world with you, and I hope that we're going to be able to be with you so much more in the next 2 years. Thank you all for coming.
Thank Thank you very much once again, ladies and gentlemen. Please enjoy the exhibition and thank you.
एक ही बुलाया भाई जी।
now invite
Yeah, of course.
the UN representative of Pakistan.